Hi, my name is Raquel, and welcome to my podcast. Today is Sunday, the 17th of September, and welcome to all new and returning viewers. If I look down, or if I look away from the camera, on occasion it's to check on my little kitten, Soot, who's all by himself. For the next week, the dogs have gone to spend some time at my parents' place, because I have several activities during the week that are all day activities, so I won't be around. I won't be able to come home at lunchtime to walk them, which is what I usually do. So my parents are kindly taking care of them for the week, and I'll get them back next week. But the cat is not used to being alone. He's used to having his two friends with him, and all he wants to do is cuddle on my lap, and he spends the whole morning on my lap, wanting to be cuddled and petted, and basically he didn't want to let me do anything. So but let's get on with the knitting. That's what we're here for. And there's fluff flying around. Sorry. So I have a finished object, which wasn't planned. I had this on the agenda to make in November, but I decided I needed to make a quick project. I'm working on a sweater that is coming along very slowly, too slowly for my liking. I really need to focus on it. I'm going to focus on it today after I finish filming this podcast, if I don't get sidetracked by something else that I have to start. But my goal for having 3 sweaters this month is out the window. I'm not gonna even try to get that goal. My goal now is just basically to finish the sweater I'm working on, which I'll show you in a minute when I start talking about the whips. So yesterday morning I decided, no, I'm gonna cast on something new. I didn't want to. I could easily have picked up my pinwheel blanket and made a couple more blocks, but I was like, no. I want something completely different. I have this other project I need to knit anyway, so let's just do that. And so I picked out yarn. I first picked up the Drops Andes, which is like a super chunky yarn, and that didn't work out. The item was coming out way too big. It would have easily fit like a 6-year-old, and the idea is to give this to a baby, so no, it could not be that size. So I went back to my stash, had a look what I had, and I found some Drops Nepal in these two colors. So Drops Nepal, which is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca blend, and I really like this yarn. It's super soft. It says to use size 5 or size 5mm or US 8 needles. I used 5.5. And I actually managed to get gauge, which with the patterns, I made a tin can knits pattern, so I'll show you the finished object in a minute. With the tin can knits pattern, I usually have to go up 2 or 3 needle sizes to be able to get gauge. So going up only 1 needle size was quite good. I just picked the first needles out of mine. I actually thought I was taking out the 5mm needles, but later I saw that was the 5.5mm needles. So this color, which is the main color for the body I use, I got this at Balder's Tones when they were still open. I write the date on the ball band so I can tell you exactly when I bought this. I bought this on the 31st of October 2015. And she had 5 skeins of this color left over on sale because she was no longer going to carry this particular yarn in the shop. And then I got this from a D-stash, and this was only 84 grams, so it was on a full ball and like a partial ball. So I thought, seeing as I like the two colors together, I thought I'd use this for the ribbing on the cardigan I made, and this for the main part of the body, and so that's what I did. And and then I found some buttons in my stash, and I put a call out on Instagram yesterday asking for some help in choosing the colors, because I had 3 different colors that could potentially go with the cardigan, and I wouldn't say the majority won out, but one color won out, and I won't go into the reasons for it because I don't know if the person who this is going to watches, and I don't want to give it away. So here's the finished cardigan. So this is the Antler cardigan by Tin Can Knits in the 0 to 6 month size. And like I said, I actually got gauge. It doesn't give a row gauge, it only gives a stitch count gauge, and I got that. I might be off by half a stitch or something, but I pretty much got gauge. So it's pretty much the size of the, what it says. So that's the front, and this is the back. And this is knit bottom up. So you start with the cuffs. You actually start with the sleeves. So I did the sleeves 2 at a time. And I did that in the morning after I decided to pick this up. And then I went to meet a couple of friends for the afternoon to sit and knit, and I did the whole body, basically. Well, up to the yoke. I did the whole body, and I managed to attach sleeves and start the yoke. I think I had 2 rows of the cabling done by the time I left the knit group, so that was from like 4:30 to, from 2:30 to 5:30 maybe. We all left a bit earlier yesterday. We had other things to do, and the place we were at was starting to get really windy and a bit chilly, so we all decided to leave. So then when I got home, I finished the yoke, finished the ribbing at the top, and then picked up the button bands on either side, and then had the dilemma of which buttons do I choose. Now, for the button bands, I picked up the first one and I got 73 stitches, and then for the second button band, I obviously needed to get the exact same stitch count. I had to pick that one up 3 times to get the exact same stitch count, and I followed the same method that I had picked up the stitches on the one side, so in theory I should be able to, you know, get identical stitch count, but for some reason I didn't. I don't know why, but in the end I got there, and I'm really pleased with the cardigan. So basically it took me a whole day to finish this, and yeah, I'm pleased. I sewed on the buttons this morning after deciding on the color, and I'll put it close up so you can see the buttons properly. Little apples. They're light orange. They're showing a bit yellow on the screen, but they really are light orange. And I had the other colors I had were yellow and a red. So yeah, this one's ready to go to its recipient along with something else that I already knit and that I showed last week, one of the blankets. And then, because I now have this left over, which is roughly, let me see what I have left over. I have about, this is pretty much 50 grams, and then I still have 2 more here. I'm going to see what I can make out of this. Tin Can Knits has a pattern that is for little pants from the Maxim Bodhi wardrobe. Might see how much that requires and what kind of yarn that requires, so that maybe I can squeeze that out of this yarn, and then that way the baby has like if I can't get full length pants, maybe just a pair of shorts, so you know you can always wear, baby can always wear leggings underneath or something. So that's my finished object for this week, which wasn't planned. Like I said, I started this and finished this yesterday. Then before I go on to other finished, half finished, which are my blanket squares, at the knit group, a friend of mine had been with another friend in Spain, and I got some gifts. I got these little cards, which are symbols, crochet symbols, for in Spanish, and then on this one it's the UK one, and on this one it's the US translations, and then the same with crochet hook sizes. So one for Spain, one for the UK, and one for the US. Again, these are what the symbols so the abbreviations or what the symbols mean, and on the front it's just like the different crochet hooks sizes. So this is quite handy. And then also got this lovely set of double pointed needles, rosewood double pointed needles, made in India. They're 7" and they're size 3.25. Let me just take one out without the glare. So this is what they look like. A nice brown color, super smooth. I used them this morning to Kitchener shut the yesterday while at the knit group to carry on with the body. I did a 3 needle bind off underneath the arms, but I did that so that I could carry on with the rest of the to finish the yoke. But then this morning what I did was I undid that 3 needle bind off, and I Kitchener shut the armholes to make it neater. So I can show you what I mean. I had done the 3 needle bind off, but now I've done the Kitchener, and with use you won't even, like, you can see a slight line, but with use you won't even be able to see that anymore. So yeah. Going back to this pattern, what can I say? Tin can patterns are just self-explanatory. They're super easy to follow, very well written. I only ever had a problem in terms of yardage with one pattern, but that was also, I was doing a test knit, so she wasn't too sure about the yardage at the time, and I was doing a larger size. That came out okay because I'd already bought extra yarn to begin with, so I didn't run out of yarn, but some people did run out of yarn. So but like I said, that was a test knit. All the other patterns I've knit by Tin Can Knits, I've never ever run into any issues. Yardage, what they say, is very generous. I have to figure out if I use the yardage that it mentions here in the pattern. I've not gotten that far yet. But other than that, like I said, it's super simple patterns to make. They're really easy, and you have the added benefit that you can make it for the whole family. I mean, this Amber cardigan is made from size 0 to 6 months to size 4XL. So you can always find a size to make for someone. Okay, so next, finished objects or works in progress. My blanket squares. Now, I think last week I showed you the first 2 that I had. I'll just show you again. This is row 5 of my blankets. This is, I might not have shown you these. I don't know. This is all Yarn Adventures. I had last year at Christmas, 2 years ago at Christmas, I think. Or was it last year? I can't remember. I think it was 2 years at Christmas. Philomena, the person behind Yarn Adventures Yarn, she gifted us a set of 4 mini skeins, and I used that in my big mitered square blanket, and I had left over. So what I did was, I've already knit a square in the pinwheel blanket with some of this yarn, and this was like really leftovers, like 2-3 grams maybe of some of these items, some of these colors. So what I did is I took a black color, which I believe is the Fireplace, again, Yarn Adventures, and I just started with one of the colors, and I just carried on until it finished, and then picked up the next color and carried on until it finished. And then this color, the Caribbean one that you see here, that one actually carried on through 3 of the triangles, and then here I added smoke. This one is Old Boat, this one here. Then it goes to Cold Mountain, which is like a bluish green. And then here, like I said, this is Caribbean. And then here was Smoke, which is just a really light gray. And then I had another ball that is Dirty Jeans, but I didn't think it really fit in with the color scheme here. So that was the first one I did. Then I knit this one, and this is all Opal and Shuffle wool yarn. Opal, Shuffle, and these two here are Fable, Drops Fable. And this is a blanket square that appears in 6 out of the 8 rows I'm going to make, and every time the square comes out differently. So that was the second square I made. Then, like I said, my sweater was giving me grief. It's not progressing the way I wanted to progress. I'm working on 300 stitches, lace. Even though it's easily repeatable lace, I can do it without looking at the chart. It's just a drag doing that 300 stitches. So I put it aside and I decided I needed something quick and I needed something mindless to knit, and so I did the blanket squares. This is the third blanket square I made. This is all Mrs. Robinson's hand-dyed yarns. This one, this one, this one, and this one were all minis that I got. The other ones are all full skeins that I got and I already made my projects with and I already knit another square out of. And then the last one, I again picked up my Yarn Adventures leftovers and made another block. These are two different colors at the top. This is a purple and this is a blue. And these two are also different. So this one here is Grandma's Garden. This one was a mini skein. And these two are also different. And the bottom two you can see they are different. So those are the 4 I got, and I have yarn for the next 2. And then I finished row 5 when I finished these 2 blocks. And then once I finished these 2 blocks, when I finished the blocks, the 2 remaining blocks for row 5, I'm going to sew in ends on row 4 and row 5, attach them to the blanket. I still need to take photos of them first, and then start row 6, which is going to be the minis that I got from a viewer. So thank you, Philippa. I'm finally going to start your minis, and that should give me a whole row of squares. So finally, onto the only width on my nails at the moment, the sweater. I still love the sweater, and I'm definitely going to finish it, but at the moment I'm thinking I should have maybe done the back plain and then like just the lace on the front, so that I have some some plain knitting, because even on the rest rows it's not completely knitting all the way around. There's still some purling and some twisted stitches I have to do. So last week it has gone, and it's on small cable, so I can't show you. Last week I was here at this marker, so it has grown about 10 centimeters since last week, but it's not growing the way I want it to grow. So, and I've not even finished the skein that I had started last week, or I was about to start last week. So I have one thing that I still need to that I quickly need to make. There's a bit of a deadline for that, so I might focus on that today, because I think I can get that done today. And then the rest of the month I am focusing on the sweater only. Only when I finish the sweater, because once I pick up the sleeves, this sweater is going to fly off the needles because it's just plain knitting in the round. I just need to remember where to do the decreases for the sleeves. I've tried this on and the sleeves are huge, so I'm going to have to really drastically decrease. I still want to keep them baggy, just there's too many stitches on the sleeves at the moment. So I'm most likely not going to pick up as many stitches for the underarm as suggested. I might just pick up slightly less, so that I have even fewer stitches to decrease. But yeah, this is, I probably should have, like I said, probably should have kept the back plain, and should have done just a panel down the front instead of going all the way around with the lace. But I do know that I'm going to love wearing the sweater once it's done, so I'm going to persevere and I'm going to continue with the sweater, and hopefully by next week I have at least the body of the sweater finished. That's my goal now for this week, is finish the body of the sweater. Like I said, this week, Monday and Tuesday, I have, I'm going to redo my first aid training. This is going to be the third time, the second time renewing the first aid training. And so I'm going to have some extra time to knit in the morning, and then I'm going to have some extra time to knit in the afternoon. it's going to be 2 full days, and because it's close to the RGO Knitorama shop, I'm gonna, once it's finished, I'm gonna quickly pop into the shop and sit and knit with Joanna, and that seems to help a lot. If I'd taken the sweater with me yesterday, I think I would have maybe doubled the part that I did, so maybe I would have had 20 centimeters to show you of knitting, because knitting on your own, when it's tedious knitting like this is, it's basically, it's tedious knitting. I don't mind knitting garter stitch all the way around. At the moment, this is more tedious than knitting just plain garter stitch for me. And when you're alone and it's tedious and you're not really enjoying what you're doing, you tend to put it down and do something else. And that's what happened with the sweater. I just put it down and started knitting the blanket blocks. And then yesterday I decided to just do something completely different, and it's the baby cardigan. So knitting with friends though, you're sitting there, you're chatting, you're interacting with someone else, and it seems to fly with the needles at that point. So I'm definitely taking this with me to the shop on Monday and on Tuesday. Then the rest of the week I'll be at the office. So that's okay, like on his own the whole day. So if I don't come home for lunch, that's not an issue, and that way I can also come home earlier and spend more time with him in the evenings, because I spend, instead of using up 2 hours of lunch, 2 hours for lunch, because you know I have to drive home, I have to eat lunch, I have to walk the dogs, and then it's not like I leave them straight away. I spend some time with them and everything, so by the time I get back to the office, like an hour and a half, 2 hours have passed since I left the office. So I have to stay a bit later to do my 8 hours a day. So it's now hiding underneath this rug that I have laid out for the dogs to lie on. If you follow me on Instagram, you'd have seen a little video clip I put up of Rusty trying to save Soot from suffocating under this rug. So I just saw the rug move up and down, so that's why I know that he's under there. So yeah, so he's okay during the day. I'll have the blinds closed, almost completely closed, so that it doesn't get too hot in here. And then, like I said, I can get home earlier and stay with him a bit longer in the evenings. And I brought out a blanket that I made, which happens to also be a tin can knit blanket, a test knit that I did, that I knit out of drops in the pile, and I'll just quickly grab it to show you. Now, I washed this in the washing machine. The first time I blocked it properly, so I soaked it and I laid it out to block and everything. But that was because it was a test knit and I needed to do it. Just wanted to see if I got the actual size. Since then, I've used this blanket so much, it's pilling like crazy, but that's okay. Like I said, this is the Drops Andes. I knit this blanket in 3 days. On 10, no, I lied. I believe it was knit in 2 days on 10mm needles. Like I said, the Drops Andes is a super chunky yarn, so it goes really quick. This last time I put this in the washing machine because it's just way too dirty. Dogs lying on it, cats lying on it, so it went in the washing machine. Felt it slightly, but I'm okay with it. Sorry. So it's just, see, it's not very. If I bothered to stretch it after I took it out of the washing machine, it would be its regular size. I didn't stretch it. I can stretch it now, but it's about a meter, 120 meters wide, and maybe 150 to 170 in height. And it's just got this cable panel down the side, and the rest is garter stitch. And like I said, it was super quick to make. And so I took it out to start putting on the sofa. Not that it's like mega cold or anything, but the nights are starting to get chillier, and I take the dogs out around 8, and then around 11:30 again. And there's been a lot of chilly winds, so the blanket comes in handy when I come home, and I've just been outside in quite a cold wind, so just to wrap my feet up in it, and like for 10-15 minutes or something, and then I'm too hot already. So, but Soot likes it. He's been nesting in it. I left it out for him yesterday so that he could have it while I was out with friends, and he definitely uses it. He likes to nest in it. So, but he prefers my lap when the dogs aren't around. So I'm pretty sure that the moment I sit down in my chair to knit, he's going to be on my lap. I'm going to be knitting some leg warmers for the daughter of a friend of mine, and she likes pink. And I have some pink yarn, but I thought, well, she already has a whole bunch of pink leg warmers and purple leg warmers. I'm going to make her something slightly different. It's still going to be appropriate for her to wear. That's not the thing. I hope she likes it. It's this black yarn with hints of pink, blues, and yellows, so I hope she likes it. I like the socks I made out of this. I've made socks out of this. This is tiger yarn that I got maybe 3 years ago at Tiger. During the winter months they have sock yarn. This was the first year that they had the sock yarn. They had a variety of colors. This was one of them. Lately they've only had 2 colors, just 2 plain colors, the teal, 3 colors, sorry, the teal, a navy, or a fuchsia. And yeah, I mean, I prefer these kind of colors. Just, you know, those other ones are great for just plain socks, but I also like to use them as contrasting colors for the cuffs, the heels, and the toes. And if they had some more of these variegated yarn, that'd be fun. So I'm hoping that this year they'll have some more variegated yarn. A friend of mine last week said that they also had cotton yarns. Now the ones that I usually tend to go to, which are in the shopping mall, like in that direction, which is about a 10-minute walk for me, that one didn't have any cotton yarn at all during the summer. The other one I visit is close to where I work. That one also had no cotton yarn, but apparently in the mall where I usually go to the cinema at, they have a Tiger store there as well, which I didn't know about. I found out last week, and they did have the cotton yarn. So I might have to pop in quickly to see if they still have the cotton yarn. As we're coming to the end of the summer, they might already be switching over their stock, you know, from summer to autumn, and they might not have the cotton yarn. But at least it's something to look out for in next year. Because the colors that she showed me were quite cute, and I didn't actually touch the yarn or anything, but yeah, cotton yarn for little items, or even if it's just for washcloths, you know, it's good to have in stash. I've been using some of my cotton yarn because it's not something I really like to knit with, but I prefer wool, basically. So yeah. Well, I'm going to leave you guys here because I need to edit this, and I want to upload it before lunchtime, and I'm going to get started on these leg warmers so that I can have them ready on time. And I also want to get back to my sweater because, you know, we're like halfway through the month, and I had definitely planned to have the sweater finished, so I definitely want to have the body of the sweater done by the end of this week. Let's hope I can I can manage it. So have a nice week. I'll see you guys next week. Next week Saturday there is the knit group again for the knitters here in Porto. I will be posting that on Facebook as well, on their page. I'll put it up on my page as well, and I'll post it on Instagram as well, just in case anyone wants to join us. The last official meeting was in April this year. I went in May. I was the only person there. I went with a friend in June. The cafe we had was closed, so we didn't hold we canceled the knit group. And then July and August were just summer months, and there was hardly anyone around, so we didn't host any. So we're gonna start up back up again. So 23rd of September at Café Arcadia on Praça de Liberdade in Porto, from around 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 6, 7, 8. Depends on who the people are, like the group, if we're all wanting to be there for a lot longer or not. Sometimes we've been there till 8 o'clock in the evening. It really just depends who's there. So I hope you guys come. Like I said, I'll put it up on Facebook, I'll put it up on my Instagram page, and I'll see you guys around. Bye!